carry on this project. We're going to have the timeline in this project. How long are we going to, is this project going to take? What's the time? And also it defines the boundary. Think of it like a building. You build a house and you fence around the house. So the building itself is the scope of that project. Everything within the fence of that building is the scope in this case. So anything within your clearly stated boundaries and anything that is outside of those clearly stated boundaries is out of scope. So anything within that fence is what you're going to call your scope in this sense. Now, what is scope creep? This happens when the requirements of the project grow beyond the original plan, grow beyond the original cost, grow beyond the original resources, the original timeline. So let's say people are now, we have the house, we have the fence, you're now adding, okay, let's add this attachment, let's add this, and things are going outside of that small fence that you have created. That's when this scope creep starts to come in. And it usually starts harmlessly. You won't even notice. In the IT sense, now someone can just say, let's say your client or something can just tell you, oh, this small addition, can we just add one more thing that we're going to market at launch? So all those kind of things is what you call scope creep. And from the client's point of view, from your stakeholders' point of view, to them it's just a small addition, something they can quickly add. But those things are going to affect the timeline of the project, they are going to affect the requirements needed in the project, they are going to affect the cost in the project. So just using the same house analogy. So imagine someone brought the contract of a building to you and they asked you, can you just build me a 2-bedroom house or a 2-bedroom apartment? And you've already started on this work, and halfway through, they realized, do you know what? I would want a balcony. Can you just help me add that, find a way to add the balcony? And as the architects, you've already structured everything that needs to be done with the plots allocated to you. You've already drawn and done everything. So when they are telling you, oh, can you help me just add the balcony? That means you are going back to the drawing board to go and start from the beginning. And remember, from the onset of your project, you have a timeline. So definitely this small addition, or can you just quickly add this balcony, is going to affect not only the timeline, the resources and the cost. So, or they're telling you, can you make the kitchen bigger, or can you add the guest room? So this is what scope creep looks like. So it's just more work, the same builder, the same budget, the same deadline. So just bringing it to the home for DevOps team, it can be like, oh, can you just add us? Can you help add extra environment for the mobile app team? I know we have some of those people here. It can be, oh, can we just add one more OS version for the cybersecurity team? It can be, oh, can we just quickly do this last minute compliance checks? And project managers, I'm sure that we've experienced things like this of, oh, I understand that the delivery team or the technical team is working on this, but project manager, can we just quickly add this? I'm not really satisfied with this. So this is what scope creep looks like. And I'm sure one way or the other, everyone has experienced something like this. So why is this dangerous? Uncontrolled scope creep is dangerous because it's kind of has a domino effect. And if you know what dominoes are, once one falls and they follow the other, everything is going to keep on crashing that way. So what are one of the domino effects that scope creep can have either on your project, on your deliverables, or even your team members? The first one is missed deadlines. Adding more work to the project that has already been settled means that the original dates you have initially agreed upon with the stakeholders, or the original dates you have initially agreed upon with the clients, is now impossible. If they give you a project to be done within 4 weeks, within 1 month, by the time they are adding more deliverables, adding more tasks, adding more scope, that's what to be done to what you already have, it will be difficult to still meet that particular deadline that you agreed upon. Then you have budget overrun. Just like I said in the beginning, when you add more work to be done, you're going to need more money, you're going to need more resources. So unplanned features, unplanned workload consume consume resources that were not originally planned for, that were not originally budgeted for. Then, apart from resources, tools, materials, all of that, we have people working in these teams, and we need to consider them also. So one of the domino effects that can happen would be overworked teams, and this can lead to team burnout, physical burnout, mental burnout. So when your team already has a deadline in mind and everyone is working towards that deadline, and you come again and tell them, oh, I need to shift this deadline, I need to add more work. So just all of that, the mindset of the team might not be able to handle that because you just keep on overwhelming them and they can become demoralized in that kind of situation where they're already working towards a deliverable. Okay, we're just adding this feature, we're working on an application that has just release about three features or something like that. I'm in a meeting, ma. So sorry, please hold on. Yes, sorry for the interruptions. Let me just continue. I was talking about the team members now, because even in projects I manage, I always tell my team members, even though I'm concerned about the projects being delivered on time, I'm also concerned about you. So once I notice team members start to drop off, just like this taught us yesterday, emotional intelligence and empathy and all of that. So it's just reaching out to them that, oh, I understand everything is becoming too much, but just to kind of pump them out. So one of the things that can lead to your team members just dropping, they are not finishing work on time, you're missing them, but they are not listening to you, it might be scope creep. They are becoming overwhelmed with the amount of work that needs to be done, and the finish line that they initially saw in front of them keeps on extending, and basically running away from them. Then the last one is I'll just be mentioning for today is lower quality or quality erosion. So when you are rushing and adding last minutes, or quickly add this, quickly add that, you compromise the integrity of the quality of what it is you're going to release. And for cybersecurity team and for the DevOps team, this can be when some things like yes, some bugs are coming in, some vulnerabilities are creeping in because of those last minute additions that you had to quickly add that you were not able to ensure the quality of. So just like I said in the beginning, this domino effect basically turns a project that you have properly and efficiently planned during your project initiation phase or during your project planning phase, and everything is just crashing and leading to chaos right now. So now we know what scope creep is. Why does it happen? So one of the things that can cause scope creep is unclear requirements. So this happens during the when the specifications of the project is vague. So someone just tells, it's like going to a carpenter now. For example, most of these IT guys will tell them, get this ergonomic chair, is good for your back, good for this. So you go to a carpenter and tell the carpenter, make me a chair that is nice and comfortable for my back. Then it just creates you like, let's say, all these office chairs or all these basic chairs. And you're saying, oh no, this is not what I wanted. I told you something that will be comfortable for my back. I told you something that looks nice. You were very unclear with the requirements. In your mind and in your head, you understood what it is you wanted. Was to be 100% sure the person you are giving this task, the person you are giving this project to, understands exactly what it is you want. You need to break it down for them. You can go with reference pictures, things like that. Explain it to them, break it down that I want you to create a chair that looks like this in relation to gaming chairs, things like that. So you leave no room for misinterpretations in this case. Then we have poorly defined scope. If you don't define the boundaries, if you don't define what it is that's going to be excluded, what it is that's going to be included in your projects, you are inviting your project to expand without control. So just like I said for the house, everything in that fence, you have defined this is what I want you to build for me. This is what I want to be inside the fence. So if you don't define that, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that, you have missed the boundary. You didn't place a boundary around your project, and definitely it's going to expand without properly managing it. Then stakeholder appeasement. This is basically trying to be the yes man and trying to satisfy every request without evaluating the cost or evaluating the impact that effect is going to have on the project. So in most cases, people just want to be the helpful person. They want to just be saying, "Oh yes, we can do this. We'll work on that. We'll do this." But if you keep on saying yes to everything without actually sitting back to say, if I say yes to this can negatively in fact impact this, or this can have a terrible impact. Okay, slight impact. Okay, maybe a low impact on this project. You need to analyze all of that. If you don't do that, you are basically setting yourself up for failure or a breakdown or chaos. Then we have the no change process. So the lack of formal procedures for handling issues is one thing that can happen. Just like I said in stakeholder appeasement, you don't want to always be that yes man, yes man, yes man. But at the same time, you don't always want to be the no person. So in this case, what you can do is in project management, there's something called the change request form. If someone comes to you with a request or a change or something, document it. So just pause and be like, okay, this is what you want. Let me document this. Let me analyze and assess. Is it going to, what kind of impact is it going to have on this project? So later on, should anything happen along going down the line, you can have that documentation that says, okay, you requested for this change, we modified it like this. This is what happened. This is what happened. So all those kind of things are important. So this also relates to undocumented requests in project management. It's very, very important to have documents for almost everything. And change request is one of the things that you also need documentation for. Then just to give you a real life example, just because I like examples. So you took a contract from a client. The website should have a contact form for people to put in their details in case they want to reach out, in case they have more questions. You should just have a basic responsive design. You can do this, then you took all of this, realized, okay, it can be done within 4 weeks, and this is the budget. Midway, let's say 2 weeks into you trying to fulfill this contract, they tell you, oh, please, can you add in an online payment system? Can you add the blog with CMS like WordPress, Full SEO? So all of these things, but this timeline is still 4 weeks and the budget still remains the same, but they've increased the scope of your projects. So if you are not properly documenting this, if you are just being the yes man to this situation, it will definitely lead to stress, it will lead to delays, it will lead to conflict. And at the end of the day, you won't be able to meet up with that deadline, leading to a damaged relationship with your clients. So to prevent everything that we have just said there, the stress, the seeing burnout, the damaged relationship, how do we now prevent this before the project starts? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to define the deliverables. So in this case, you're not being vague by just telling your carpenter to build me a chair. So you're going to release be specific, be measurable, using like I don't even know this SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. You're going to define the deliverables this way. So for instance, if the marketing team wants to release a promo video, in the contract or in your documentation, you won't just write release video, um, make a promo video for me. No, you have to be specific. You can say something like, we want a 60 seconds video. The video should be high definition. We want background music, soft background music, classical background music, subtitles in English, and things like that. So this is not what I want. You can point back to what you have already defined in your deliverables that they have signed off on, that this is what you wanted and this is what we did. Then you have the document exclusions. This is where it's one of arguably the most important parts of things to do before the project. So you are going to state here clearly what is out of scope to set clear boundaries. Just like in the previous slide we did with the real life examples, out of scope things are going to be, there's no online payment on this slide. We don't have full SEO optimization. So everything you think is not going to be involved in that project. You're going to state it out that, okay, this is everything that is currently out of scope. So you are aware of everything that is excluded from the project. So they don't just come one day and tell you, do this, do this, do that. So because I like using analogies, because that's one way I learn. Imagine you hire a mechanic, for instance, to fix your car engine. So a good mechanic will tell you, okay, I'm fixing the engine. No, I'm not going to touch this. I'm not going to touch that. Or if in this case, you even be the one telling them, I'm telling you to fix my tire. Don't go and touch this wire. Don't touch that wire. So things like that are examples of you defining exactly what is out of scope in your document. Then get written approval. In a professional setting, you're not going to say, oh, but he said, she said, he agreed, she agreed. If it is not written down, if it is not signed upon, if it is not visible that you send this via email, it does not exist. Even in Bencom, we're all aware of the rule that says if you don't send via email, if you don't say it via Slack, then it was not said. So there should always be formal sign off, written approvals, so that you won't say, oh, but I thought we were doing this, I thought you were doing that. You don't need all of that. With your written approval, it says everything that has been signed off for you to do. Then you're going to create a milestone. Don't just, you have a lot of things to achieve. Break all those things into work with measurable phases. So, for instance, you want to release an app, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to have a launch for this app, you can break it down to UI design approval. Okay, we're all working towards having the UI design approval done. That's been done. The team is happy that, oh, we've checked off one thing out of 5 things we need to do. The next thing is, okay, API integration. Another thing is security audit. So all those things you'll be checking it off, and the team can even have visibility to the progress they're having. So that way they can see that the finish line is coming closer and closer and closer. Then the last thing to do to prevent scope creep before the project even starts is align expectation. This is about making sure all stakeholders are on the same page before anything happens on the project. Before anything happens at all, you're making sure that your project sponsor, marketing team, HR team, PMO team, everybody agrees on what success is going to look like at the end of the project, so that everybody will just say, oh, I thought at the end it was going to be like this. No, before the project even starts, you're going to align everyone's expectation that when we're done, this is what our output is going to look like. Then that was before the project. Now we're going to look at how to control it during the project. So I mentioned before that the same way you don't say yes to everything is the same way you don't say no to everything. So once a new request arrives, don't agree immediately. Instead, you're going to record that request. Okay, this is what this particular stakeholder wants. Assess the impact it's going to have on the project. Is this going to affect the timeline? Are we going to need more time? Is it going to affect the budget? Are we going to need more money? Are we going to need more resources? You're going to have all of this written down. Then the change process, you have a change request form. Fill it into that change request form that this has been requested. If you're using Jira, you can do a change request ticket system. So all of this. Then another thing you can do is communicate trade-off, which can be seen in this example here. If a client tells you, oh, can you just please add this feature for me? You cannot tell them, okay, we can add this, but just so you know, it's going to cost an extra so amount and so addition of time. Cost you 300,000 more. We need to extend the project by 2 weeks if we're adding this. Or there's this particular feature you want on whatever it is you're building. If we can remove that, we can still stay on schedule. So which one would you prefer? Would you want to add 300K and we increase the timeline by 2 weeks, or remove this particular feature and we can still stay on track? So these are some of the ways that during the project you can still control scope creep. So just bringing it down to the PMs in the house now, not even just project managers, but product managers. What is your role with your team when it comes to controlling scope creep? So as the project manager or as a product manager, you are not just the person that is ensuring everything is done, you are also the person that is protecting your team. You are trying to shield them from unrealistic demands. You're trying to shield them from mental burnout. Then you're the person that acts as the realistic balancer. Just like I said, when it comes to communicating with the clients, you're the one that would communicate with them what is achievable, the constraints you are currently having. Because while at the same time, in their head, they want this, your team, especially the technical team, are the ones that are aware of the reality of building that thing that your clients want. So you inform your team, you have internal team meetings, you take back this feedback to the client and everything. So you are balancing the reality with the expectation. Then you are the boundary communicator. You are expressing limitations professionally while maintaining a positive relationship. Then yeah, you're also the change facilitator. You're changing requests. So your job is not just to be the yes person. Your job is to ensure that the project is delivered on time while your relationship with the team is still intact. Your relationship with the clients is still intact. So just some key takeaways. It's very important to know that scope creep happens little by little, but it's very destructive. Happens small that you don't even notice until it becomes a problem. And it happens when changes are unmanaged, when you're not properly checking, when you're not properly monitoring and controlling changes that are being done. This can happen. Then prevention equals clarity and proper documentation. That's like I said, document everything at the start, even though you're not the project or product manager from your end, document everything that is being done. If they're asking you to go and change something, change one code, document it so that when a problem happens, you can bring back the attention of a particular stakeholder that says, oh, you asked me to change this, you asked me to change that. So control requires a structured change process, and good management or protects everyone. So projects don't fail because of one big mistake. They fail because of so little mistakes that just became so much at that particular moment. Thank you, everybody. And any questions? Before I go ahead to ask my own question. Question? You can also say no question for me if you have a question. I hope I'm still audible. Okay, thank you, Austin. So I'll take the silence as no question then. So my question is just speaking on experience. So if I call you, you don't have to be afraid. It's not the technical questions because I'm always afraid when the technical team are presenting. Because I'm thinking someone will just come and ask me some questions about coding or things like that. I'm always sweating. So mine is project management. Anyone can answer. So let me see. Okay, Austin, since you responded, I know you're online. Let me just call you. Austin, are you there? Austin, please don't run away from me now. Okay, let's see. Tosin Adeni. Good afternoon, Tosin. Just please can you confirm your address so I can ask the question? Can anyone still hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
Please, I have a question, please.
Okay, yes, so Joseph. I think is that you? Or is that David?
Sorry, Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my question is this. I do make mistake here on comparison between the sprint and the word deliverable. Please, can you please help me to distinguish between the two?
Between what and deliverables?
Yeah, between sprint, the word deliverable.
What do you mean deliverables?
Yeah, do you get that?
Can you type it? Can you help me differentiate between I had screen and deliverable? And I don't think it's screen you
Sprint,
said.
sprint and deliverable.
Between a sprint and a deliverable.
Yes,
Okay, okay. So deliverable, just like the word itself, is what it is you're supposed to deliver at the end of. So in your sprints is, let's say you have a backlog of projects to be done, or you are building a website